The SAT is a nationally known test meant to provide every capable student with a fair shot at getting into an institution of higher learning. It has been seen for many years as a test that can measure your intelligence and one that will measure the kind of GPA you might expect in your first year of college. But is it fair to put so much weight into this test? The answer is no. The SAT has too many flaws and is not an adequate indicator when it comes to determining how well a first-time freshman will do in college. It was originally meant to be an aptitude test, and it quickly became a test in which college capability could be derived from, or at least that's what they thought. The goal of the SAT was to provide colleges with a standardized way to measure potential and talent for those coming into their institution. But it has failed to do this fairly. The claim will be made today that the SAT fails to account for the socioeconomic backgrounds of many of its participants, and that the SAT cannot be used as an accurate indicator for academic achievement in college. To my first claim, there is without a doubt lower test scores with those who come from families who make a lower income. According to the Washington Post, there was a study done by the Century Foundation, and it stated that 74% of students in the top tier universities came from the richest quarter of the U.S. population, and only 3% came from the bottom quarter of the population in the U.S., and there was a point disparity in the SAT on average of 784 points. The reporter who wrote the article stated that rich kids can't possibly be 25 times smarter than the poor ones, and that is a true statement. Part of the reason why this is because there is coaching available. There are companies such as Kaplan and Princeton Review, which offer courses that allow kids to prep in a certain way for the SAT that those who don't have the money to afford the classes are unable to do. Also, the Princeton Review score is saying it's not about learning more algebra, it's about knowing how to approach an algebra question in a standardized test. So they're teaching these kids something different, something that they can't learn in school. So those who are privy to this information automatically have a leg up when it comes to taking the SAT, and that is unfair. In the utility of the SAT 1 and SAT 2 published by College Board, the company who created and distributed the test has data showing that there's a correlation of a certain percentage of low-income families with low test scores. Higher scores have been coming from families with the higher income bracket traditionally. So I ask you, how can we justify such a test that clearly favors those who have more money? We can't. In 2001, moving on to my next claim, in 2001, the president of the entire UC system moved to try and abolish the SAT 1. However, he failed. But studies done in 2001 showed that the SAT, when measured independently, is not an accurate indicator of freshman GPA. Figures compiled by Ford and Campos of the Educational Testing Services rate the SAT's accuracy ranging from only 8 to 15% when standing in indicating freshman grade point average for the first year. This test is supposed to be used by universities to diagnose whether a prospective student will be able to succeed and excel in their academic institution. But how can it possibly do this if the test itself is not an effective indicator? It is shown from data, again, from the utility of the SAT 1 and SAT 2 that high school GPA and, in some cases, subject tests, the SAT 2s, are more effective communicators of a student's future academic performance. With this being said, the SAT, which originally started out as an aptitude test and moved to a test in which freshman GPA could be calculated is not effective, is not needed, and therefore should be abolished.